Rainollon here. Today's another build showcase and it's the Cerata. So let us immediately start. Today I'm going to show you my Cerata heavy attack build. So let's start with the mods. The mods I'm using on my Cerata, I'm using Blood Rush, which gives me 40% critical chance, stacks with combo multiplier. I'm going to have 5x all the time, so that's 160% critical chance, which is quite good. Galvanized Steel gives me critical chance. Galvanized Reflect gives me 50% heavy attack efficiency. Both of them have the exact same gimmick. After 4 kills, they give you something. One gives you 120% critical damage, and the other one gives you 80 initial combo. 80 initial combo is 5x all the time, which is really good for heavy attack builds. Amalgam Organ Shatter, which gives you critical damage and heavy attack wind-up speed. Killing Blow gives you melee damage and heavy attack, and also heavy attack wind-up speed. Volatile Quick Return gives you +3 blast radius. Melee Elementalist plus 90 status damage and also heavy attack wind-up speed. And Prime Pressure Point for increased damage. So these are the mods. For the Arcane, Melee Duplicate. On base critical hits, 100% chance for your next attack to strike a second time. So what is a base critical hit? Yellow crits. This does not work with orange and red crits. It only works with yellow crits. And because of these two crit mods, I pretty much will always yellow crit, which is always going to do double damage. And how do you know this works? And how does it work? This is like multi-shot. So if I were to toss my glaive and a yellow crit, and you see 1,000, you're going to see another 1,000. It's quite good for single target DPSing, and also it's quite good overall as a clear Arcane. So that's the Arcane. For the stats here, the only thing we care is critical chance is pretty solid. Crit multi is good. Status is more than enough. The heavy attack does have a guaranteed chance to proc the status effect, so it doesn't really matter what status chance this weapon has. You can have 0. Our heavy attack has a guaranteed chance to proc Toxin on heavy attack, so it's like fine. Sometimes you're going to proc 2 toxins, sometimes you're going to proc 1. Anyways, enemies will die from 1 heavy attack. And yeah, that's pretty much it here. Those are the most important stats. The mods, the Arcane, and I think it's time for me to show you this weapon in game. So I'm going to just bring this weapon, my Ember, nothing else, and let's start. And we are finally in. I'm going to be up against the corrupted enemies. The map is called Moth, it's at the Void, it's a survival, Steel Path of course, and I'm going to show you the weapon here. But first things first, how do I do the heavy attack AoE explosion on my glaives? You're going to hold your E button, it's going to fly, and while it's in the air you're going to press your heavy attack button, which is the alternative fire mode button, which is the middle mouse by default, and it's going to detonate in the air. So you toss it by holding E, you press your middle mouse, and it blows up like that. And that's how the glaive system works. And as you can see, this weapon is clearing really well. If the enemy somehow survives the AoE burst, the guaranteed toxin proc is definitely going to kill them. And this is an amazing glaive against the Corpus. Why, you ask? Toxin bypasses Corpus shields, which is quite good. So if you are having a really hard time against the Corpus enemies, this weapon is going to generally just fix all of your problems. It's also really cheap, I will say. Well, like one Forma setup, it's not really that expensive to make. You need like a dojo, a clan to join. The resources the weapon wants is like nothing like ridiculous. It's like really easy to use, and it's quite powerful. Of course, there are downsides. It's a toxin procer. Toxin procs are weak against armored units, of course, but you're still going to kill them. As you can see, these corrupted enemies are armored. This is Eximus unit. Yep, that Eximus unit despawned. These are also armored enemies. The burst didn't kill them, but the proc did. The guaranteed toxin proc. As you can see, it's quite good. I don't have a companion with me, so I have to manually collect all of this. But the weapon is quite good. The only downside to this weapon is the clear. It isn't like other electricity style what do you call it, electricity style glaze where you can use influence and you will spread that really powerful status effect in a 20 meter radius, like the Zorat, the glaive with electricity setup, and other glaives. There are plenty of glaives that can utilize influence. This weapon can also utilize influence, and the best way to do it is you subsume one of your abilities for the Volt's first ability and use Volt's augment for his first ability, Shock Trooper, which gives you electricity, and then you can swap duplicate for influence, and not only you will proc the toxin proc, you also proc electricity, and you can also spread the electricity and toxin in a 20 meter radius, and that's like the best way you can utilize this weapon with that helmet ability and influence, just to add that layer of clear. And yeah, that's like another idea I can give you. But even without influence, this thing isn't half bad. It's better than most primaries and secondaries when it comes to clearing. We have plenty of single target DPSers in this game. Plenty. And this thing kinda hits really hard and has a pretty solid clear. I did test this weapon a couple of times. Whoa, we have this big boy. Perfect. Alright, let's see where War is. I did test this weapon a lot. Every faction, even the demos die like 2 to 3, or sometimes 4 heavy attack throws from this glaive. Yep, that's Acolyte right there. 1 toss, 2 tosses. The toxin proc is going to kill the Acolyte. So maybe the Acolyte will die from 1 toxin proc. Maybe. That's War over there. I proc toxin on him as well. 1 more time. And I think he's also dead. Yep. He's also dead. So the weapon is quite powerful. War is also really tanky. For a really old-ish invasion style enemy, he's tanky. Especially Steel Path version. I don't believe he's tankier than the Acolyte. Maybe he is. I still think he is. But even if he isn't, he's still like really tanky. He has huge amount of armor. He has good amount of health. That's a heavy gunner right there. Heavy gunners, as you can see, the toxin isn't the greatest against armored enemies. It doesn't do a lot of damage. But if you can armor strip these guys, or use like heavy buffs, these guys are also going to die off really, really fast. So I'm going to now use Emperor's first ability to give myself fire damage. I'm going to use Nourish to give myself some viral, and I can do much more damage. Sometimes I'm going to proc viral on a heavy attack. I think it's a 1.6 million. Yeah, with buffs, this thing is ridiculously good. And I think I've shown this weapon enough. I think it's time for me to extract. Heavy gunner. No, this is not. This is Eximus enemy. Never mind. Another Eximus. 1 more. Boom. Ancient. Boom. 1 tap. It's quite good. Let me just extract, talk a little bit more, and I'll be right back. Cerata, in the end, is quite good. It's a really good glaive. I like it a lot. I recently formatted. It's like 1 format setup. It's good. If you're dealing with Corpus, Cerata is generally really good against them. Like I said, it bypasses their shield, and most of the Corpus units have shield, so it's going to just obliterate them really, really fast. There are some that have armor, but the armor they have is not really that massive, so it doesn't really matter much. It's a really good glaive. I think the build I made for it is quite nice. You can, like I said, utilize Volt's first ability with his augment, Shock Trooper, use that, use influence, so you can also spread toxin and electricity everywhere in a 20 meter radius. That also is a quite good build, I will say. I did test it, it's also really good. And yeah, overall, Cerata is good. I will highly recommend, and I hope you enjoy the build. Thank you everybody for watching. Leave a like, sub, and yet again, see you all next time. Thank you. Goodbye.